Hello, my name is Jim Neese. I'm the chairman of the final Northwest Consolidated Zoning Board meeting. And I'd like to call the meeting to order. And clerk would call the roll. I'd appreciate it.
Harold Kriska. Absent. Mike Folks.
Present.
James Neese. Brian Lewinberg.
Present.
Mark Crumbaker.
Here.
Kathleen Willenauer.
Present.
And Melissa Morris.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. If you would go ahead and read the statement for those that are going to be online, I'd appreciate it.
This meeting is now being recorded. Please silence all electronic devices. This meeting is being held in the board hearing room with zoning board members attending in person. There is also an option for virtual attendance on Zoom webinar. If you are using Zoom, you may participate in the meeting using your computer, telephone, or other electronic device. For Zoom participants, chat will be disabled once the meeting begins. If you have trouble with Zoom, please call 913-715-9666. If you would like to speak, please use the raise hand function in the Zoom app to notify planning staff of your desire to speak. To activate this function, click raise hand in the webinar controls at the bottom of the screen. By telephone, you may raise your hand by dialing *9. Please do not utilize the raise hand function until the start of the agenda item about which you desire to comment. We will take comments from in-person attendees first, followed by Zoom participants. The moderator will call on individuals who have raised their hand. When it is your turn to speak, the moderator will recognize you by the name or phone number used to join the Zoom webinar, and your microphone will be unmuted. Please state your name and the city and state where you reside for the record, followed by your comments. All public speakers will be limited to 3 minutes unless the chair designates a different time period in order to accommodate all the speakers. If you share concerns, comments, or points made by others, please refrain from repeating those comments and instead note for the record that you agree with the previous individual's comments. The chair may modify these procedures as needed to conduct an orderly and efficient meeting. For board members, staff, and presenters, please state your name every time you begin talking, and please speak into the microphone so that people attending via Zoom can hear you and so the comments can be transcribed for the record. This is a public meeting. We are presenting live and recording the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda items, are there any additions, deletions, or revisions of the agenda? In the hearing none, I would ask that they be approved. Hearing none,
This is Kathleen Willenauer, and I make a motion that we approve the agenda as written.
have a motion, have a second.
I'll second. Mark Crumbaker.
Mark Crumbaker seconded. Any questions? Any discussions? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Thank you very much. The agenda has been approved. Do we have any disclosures of conflict of interest on anything that's before the board this evening? Hearing none. Disclosure of external discussions regarding anything for us this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on. Approval of the minutes. Having read the minutes and haven't been published, does anybody have any additions or deletions to the minutes? If not, Chair would entertain a motion to approve.
Mark Crumbaker, I move we approve minutes.
Brian Lewinberg, second.
There's been a motion to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Having said that, the minutes are approved. Reports. Sean, I assume you're going to make the Board of County Commissioners actions reports, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sean Penley, County Planning Staff.
For Board of County Commissioners actions on June 15th, the board officially approved the consolidation of the Northwest Consolidated Zoning Board and Southwest Consolidated Zoning Board to create the West Consolidated Zoning Board. So that went into effect, it actually go into effect August 1st, but it was approved on June 15th. What that does is essentially combines this board with the Southwest Zoning Board. In addition, other actions that the board had was to rename the existing Southeast Zoning Board to the East Zoning Board. As part of those two changes, there will be new board members appointed to the new board. Those board members will be appointed by the district commissioner and the chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, and the appointments will be officially approved in August. We believe it'll be August 10th Board of County Commissioners meeting, but that is yet to be determined. But so that action was approved. And then in addition to that, the Planning Commission also, there's a change in the appointment process as part of the Planning Commission. So also the Planning Commission will be updated in August as well. So that was the only update for Board of County Commissioners actions. Just on a personal note related to that, I just want to say, since this will be the last official meeting for the Northwest Consolidated Zoning Board, I appreciate all of the work that this board has done. And I know on behalf of all of our county planning staff, we really do appreciate your dedication and commitment to the zoning board and to the county. We know that this is a lot of work and a lot of time and dedication on your part, and we really couldn't do these actions that we do for all of our planning cases without your assistance. So we appreciate that, and I just wanted to say thank you. Also, Jay Leipzig, the Director of Planning, couldn't be here this evening, but he also wanted to say thank you, and he appreciates all of your work. And the District Commissioner, Shirley Allenbrand, wanted to be here as well, but she is also out of town on business. So with that, happy to answer any questions on board actions. I could also go into the Planning Commission actions when you're ready.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the business before application for the board night. Before it, I'd like to take the liberty, being the chairman, to say, just give a personal overview. I moved to Olathe in 1970, and there were about 19,000 people in Olathe, more kids in the school district today than there were then. And I was appointed to the zoning board at the time. It was Olathe. There were 36,000 people in Olathe. And so I was appointed in September of 1980. And over those years, I've had the pleasure of working with many people that are here on the board, and those that are with us, that had been with us in the past, and some of those that are not with us anymore. And I had the pleasure to work with many, many staff members. And over the years, I'd like to say that the relationship, I think, between this board, I don't know about others, has been very well received from us up here. We've worked with the staff. We've not always agreed, but we've appreciated the opinions of both sides. And I think the one thing I'm most proud about this board is, in all those years, we tried to be consistent. We didn't go off the rail for somebody that lived across the street from us or somebody we knew that had a business. We were true to the oath that we took and the position that we had. And it's been an honor for me to serve somewhat the people that live in the neighborhood in the rural unincorporated area, even though it's changed a lot. So I just wanted to personally say that I appreciate the staff and appreciate the board members, and I appreciate all those that have come before the board and those that will come before the new board, whoever's going to be on that board. So I just wanted to take a minute to give a personal input to that. So
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The business before the board tonight is application Northwest 23299 SP special permit 12300 Homestead Lane for a water tower, and if staff would make its presentation, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Northwest Consolidated Zoning Board, Michelle Crooks with Johnson County Planning. And this evening, as the chair has presented, this is a request for an approval of a special permit for a 215-foot tall water tower for Water District 7 to be known as Timber Ridge Water Tower on property located at 12300 Homestead Lane within Kill Creek Park. Based on the findings and conclusions of the staff report, Johnson County Planning is recommending approval of the request subject to the stipulations outlined in the staff report. So the subject property is located within Kill Creek Park off of 123rd and Homestead Lane. The location of here, the park is outlined in green, and you can see the subject site there highlighted on the slide. This is an aerial view of the portion of the park and the tower location. The tower location, the approximate, is located by the red star. The immediate area around the tower is parkland, characterized by rolling prairie grasses, and there's a mature tree line west of the tower's lease area. Running north to south between the tower lease area and Homestead Lane, there's a natural rise in the land, which will serve as a buffer between the tower and the traffic on Homestead. So I just want to show a few pictures here of the park and the project area. So this is just looking to the west off of the that interior park road. So you can see that mature tree line, and the subject site would be over to the right of this picture. This is a picture of that natural rise that I was talking about. So you can see how there's kind of a ridge over to the left as the topography slopes down. That is where the tower and the ground site would be. Off to the right is actually slopes down to Homestead Lane. And then this is just another shot to the east from that road, showing again that rise in topography. So the tower is proposed to be located over 1,000 feet from Homestead Lane. Access to the site would be by an interior park road, which is 123rd Street. And they are also proposing a 20-foot wide gravel drive, which is highlighted in blue on the slide. No new public streets are proposed with this application. The leased area is approximately 1.93 acres, and there is a smaller area within that acreage point. Approximately 2,500 square feet would be fenced off for the tower and parking. This slide is just a closer view of that fenced area with the location of the tower and parking. The site would be secured with an 8-foot chain link fence with fabric mesh to provide screening of any ground level activity near the tower. In addition to the mesh screening and the fence, the applicant is proposing a vegetative screen around the south and southeast portion of the tower, which that part of the site would be most visible from that interior park drive. And the applicant will work with Johnson County Parks and Recreation on what landscaping materials would actually be most appropriate. The water tower is proposed to be 215 feet tall. Located at the top of the tower is some ancillary equipment, including a telemetry antenna supporting communications for both Water District 7 and Johnson County Parks and Rec. As noted in the staff report, screening of the tower is challenging due to the height. However, to compensate, increased setbacks from Homestead Lane and the nearest privately owned property would aid in reducing visual impact. So this slide here just highlights how the lease area would be about a little over 1,000 feet from the center line of Homestead Lane and over 900 feet from the closest privately owned property to the south of the park. This is a detail of the fence, just kind of reinforcing the fact that 8 feet tall and also with that mesh, that fabric mesh. The applicant is also proposing 2 facade painted signs on the tower, which would depict the Water District 7 logo. The signs proposed are larger than what would be typically permitted in the rural district. However, the regulations allow signage to be reviewed and approved as part of a development plan with special permits. So should the signage proposed be larger than allowed? So if this application is approved, the applicant would not be required to obtain a sign permit from the planning department. The special permit would serve as the approval for the sign. So planning staff, as I've already stated, is recommending approval of a special permit for a 215-foot tall elevated water tower for Water District 7 within Kill Creek Park, subject to the stipulations outlined in the staff report. And here is a recommended motion, should you choose to use it. With that, I am available for questions. And I'd also like to note we have a representative from Johnson County Parks and Rec present, a representative from Water District 7 present, and we also have the applicant, George Butler engineers are available also for questions.
Staff, any questions of, are there any questions for staff here?
Nope.
Hearing none. Thank you very much. Is there an applicant comment? Give us your name and address, please, home address.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alan Sutart with Water District 7. My physical address is 29055 West 151st Street, Gardner, Kansas 66030. First of all, thank you all for our opportunity to be here tonight. And I feel like we're really fortunate being one of your last meetings, if not your last meetings, that this is one of those permits that you will be able to take some action on and hopefully in our favor. This has been something long going for the Water District. Actually, it precedes the Water District. This Water District, as part of a little history, actually acquired another water district some years back in 2017. So the work that you're seeing here tonight, or the permit application, is actually the work of that board of directors from some year back, as well as Johnson County Park and Rec. So collaborating together, JCPRD as well as the Water District at that time determined that this was a site that worked to the benefit of both the Water District as well as JCPRD. And so, and here we are, some 22 years later, we're looking at finally building a water tower out there. It's our intent to, once the permit is provided, to get to work as far as building the tower itself. It will be a huge benefit to the rural areas of Johnson County, not only for existing customers, but future customers as well. And tonight we have with us the chairman of the Water District, Mr. Frank Denning, Sheriff Frank Denning, as I still call him, Colin Stalter, the district engineer, and then Brian Hess with GBA and Associates. So I will stand for any particular questions. If not, probably defer to one of those if you have any specific questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Board, for all your work.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Brian Lindbergh, I had a question. How does this compare to other, is there a comparable tower physically to this that to visualize? I mean, I see 210 feet, et cetera, but is there a comparable one in the area that would be similar to this?
So we have another tower in south. Actually, it's just barely in Miami County, but it's on the Johnson County, Miami County line. That's a 400,000 gallon tank. So that's comparable in size. Most of the other tanks that you see, Gardner, Water One, are much larger than what this tank is.
Thank you. I just might say the three members of this board were on the Water District. I actually kind of handled that off to you. So
I actually negotiated the deal between us and the park.
So I don't think he need to recuse himself though, because of that. Yeah. Any other questions?
40 some years later too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
And now I'd like to open it up to public hearing. If anybody would like to, from the public, like to make a statement. I'm not going to go over the specifics of that. If you want to, if you have a comment from the public, we'd be more happy to hear that. Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Any discussion that's on this application before us tonight? Hearing no discussion, Chair would entertain a motion to pass.
Who wants to make the motion?
You can do it, Mark.
Well, I could do it. Mark Baker, I move we approve as outlined by the staff.
There's been a motion to approve this application as outlined by the staff and the stipulations by the staff. Any second?
Melissa Morris, second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, call a question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So it passed and goes in front of the county commissioners. When, Sean?
Mr. Chairman, Michelle Cricks, Johnson County Planning. This item will be heard at the August 17th, 2023 Board of County Commissioner meeting. That meeting will start at 9:30 a.m. here at the Administration Building, 111 South Cherry Street, 3rd floor board hearing room, Olathe, Kansas.
Thank you. Is there any other business before the board this evening? If that's the case, the chair would ask a motion to adjourn and Sarah Narada, the case.
Like folks, I'd make a motion, we meeting adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Mark Crumbaker, I'd second that.
Okay, having a motion to approve, a second to adjourn. By the way, this is probably the easiest meeting that we've ever had here.
It was easy.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good luck, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Take care.
Actually, I made that deal.
Thank you, everyone.